Welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit Footloose, starring Kevin Bacon. So grab your boombox and get ready to get down.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. I'm Brian.
And I'm Christina. Welcome.
And we are talking about Footloose.
And we are talking from my house. We are socially distancing to record this episode. Unfortunately, our Watch studio has not quite opened just yet. So we are staying safe and trying to continue to bring you some quality episodes. So thank you for keeping with us.
Yes, thank you for your adaptability with all of our sound challenges. We've tried it in so many different places, and we really appreciate you guys sticking around and listening to us. So thank you for that. And Whiteshare, if you're listening, we miss you. Christina's dog is trying to bust through the door.
I almost thought that door was going to open and Paisley was going to come running in.
So Footloose, this is 1984.
Yes.
And 1984, Christina, when was the first time you saw Footloose?
I want to say, I don't think it was in the movies. I'm pretty sure it was a rental. And it was pretty close to the time when it came out. I want to say probably 85 or 86 or something like that. And I remember liking it. I thought it was a good movie. I don't think I loved it. It definitely, I liked the music, and it got me kind of going and moving, and it was fun in that aspect. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something that I don't think I've ever watched since, to be honest. Until now, of course. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar feeling.
Yeah. This has been happening to us a lot lately.
It's weird that we didn't know this about each other. But, Footloose, it was I liked it. Mm-hmm. It was very hyped up. It made a ton of money. It was made for $8 million. The box office was $80 million.
Wow.
But going back, the soundtrack, never left my boom box, if we would call it that. I love the soundtrack.
I forgot, watching it now, I forgot how good the soundtrack is.
Almost Paradise. Almost Paradise. We're knocking on heaven's door. And if you listen to some of these songs, they have heaven in them. Heaven help the man.
Interesting.
Yeah. Kick off your Sunday shoes, which are church shoes.
Sure.
So, I want to... Okay, so then for me, back in 1984, I feel like I saw this at the movie theater, but I don't know how that would have happened, because I would have been 12, and I don't know who would have brought me to the movies. But if I didn't, then I saw it on VHS, and I remember liking it, but again, I didn't watch it all the time, but the soundtrack was a different story.
Sure.
I just felt it was a little sleepy. I remember the movie just being a little sleepy. I liked the dance parts, I liked the up parts, but I think also this sort of the subline with Laurie Singer's character and the abuse she sort of faces, and just her character's pretty unlikable even then. That I can see myself. I can understand why I didn't love this movie then. Why I just was okay, it's good. It was fun.
And I will say, I didn't really read too much into it either when I watched it. If you would have asked me the other day before I rewatched it, what this was about, I would have said it was about a town that banned music, or maybe I might have said dancing, and that it was a love story. I didn't really have a lot more to say about it.
I wouldn't even have said it was a love story. I would have said it's about a kid who moves into a town where they banned music and he's trying to get people dancing. I wouldn't even have remembered the Laurie Singer, Kevin Bacon situation. Jump into now.
Sure.
My big takeaway. We have a character named Ariel who has problems with her lord-like father.
Oh boy, here we go.
Who keeps a trove of books and song lyrics that are forbidden by her father.
That is so interesting.
It's The Little Mermaid.
That is so interesting. I didn't even see. I mean, obviously, I thought having Ariel as the name was very bizarre.
Yeah. There's even a scene where Ariel in Footloose is at the bottom of a staircase and her dad is at the top going, Ariel, you continue to, mock me. Yeah. How can I rule? He says, how can I get my congregation to listen to me when my own daughter...
I have to try to voice. I mean,
when my own daughter doesn't.
Wow.
I'm like, this is The Little Mermaid.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, this is before The Little Mermaid. This is 84. Little Mermaid was 89. But we just talked about Little Mermaid a couple months ago. Yeah. But that was my first takeaway. I'm like,
oh my God, that's
Ariel funny. With all these forbidden temptations.
That's hilarious.
So funny.
That is really funny.
That was my first note. I was like, here we go with Ariel.
My first takeaway from this, watching it now, was I loved John Lithgow.
Oh my God, Lithgow.
So much. I love him anyway. I think we talked about this when we watched Harry and the Hendersons.
Yes.
I just love him anyway. I feel like he can do no wrong. He's one of those actors, and no matter what way I'm watching him in, I just love him. He's so good.
Well, it's our third John Lithgow, because it's Terms of Endearment.
Terms of Endearment. Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
I just love him. And I thought he was so good in this. I paid so much more attention to him this time around than anyone else in the whole movie. I lit up when he was on screen. And I was so much more invested in his storyline than anyone else's during this whole movie. I love him. Love him.
I agree. I don't necessarily think I turned my attention to him, but what I loved is that he was conflicted. There were real conflicts with him, because he just believed certain things. He thought, and I have this in my notes, that he felt he was the spiritual. I wrote it down, and that did resonate. As an adult, certainly not when I'm a 12-year-old kid. He says, I am responsible for the spiritual life of this community.
That's a big upholding.
That comes in about 3/4 into the movie. And you get it. And it's and that, as an adult now, I'm like, I feel for this guy. I think it's tough. You have a town that is by the way, it's not for nothing. That first shot of the church, it is a full house. You don't usually see that in movies. You don't.
Right.
You never see it at church, although I haven't been in a church in a long time. But it's but there is this idea of these people they believe in God, they fear God, they look to John Lithgow to interpret what's going on in the world for the sake of their small town. And there's a lot of pressure, and you feel that pressure now more as an adult.
Absolutely. And when you couple that with the fact that when you find out later, midway of the movie, that his son was killed.
Yeah.
And so he's carrying that guilt and that burden along with him. I mean, he is a multi-layered character.
And let's quickly just catch people up, because I'm sure they haven't just seen this, but the idea being is that the character John Lithgow and Diane Wiest, they're the
another
couple.
Excellent
actress. And their older son was killed in a car accident where they were sort of horsing around on a bridge in their cars. They were maybe playing chicken or Dead Man Drive or something.
Yeah.
And there was an accident, and they attributed I'm so glad he's mowing his lawn. I was wondering. I was wondering what was taking him so long.
I was waving to him, saying, "Can you turn that on now?" We just started. Yes, thank you. Oh my God. Just think that's only one neighbor that's doing it.
Oh my God. I know, really. I know. So
it's probably mad.
But I will say, and they attributed the accident to them playing rock and roll music at the time.
Yes.
And so therefore, what else to do but to ban rock and roll music in this town.
Yes.
Along with the things that come along with that, which is dancing and partying to a degree.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so up front that has happened, but then halfway through the movie you find out it was actually his son that was involved. Oh my God. All right. Well, you know what? If it's not Shorty or Punky, it's the
Paisley.
This is, what did I say?
You said Punky.
Oh, Punky's my
an
cat.
angel.
You're right. Punky is an angel.
Punky's an angel. Punky doesn't even make a sound.
He can't meow. Did you know that?
What?
He lost his meow.
Oh, it's sad.
Yeah. It works. It works for me. Just kidding.
But you know what? This is what I like about this Lawnmower Man right now is that like this is the challenge with COVID. Mm-hmm. Like this is why. So wear a damn mask. Things can open up again, and we will be back recording at what Cheer or some other podcast.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, let's back up a little bit because I will say when I first started watching this movie, I thought it was going to be just sort of a fluffy sort of 80s dancing, silly kind of movie because that's sort of the feeling that I had from it when I was thinking about it, and I think a lot of it is very silly 80s kind of stuff. It's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of kind of convenience scenes. There's a lot of flaws to this movie. There's a lot of weird conversations, like when Ren and his new best friend that he met 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
They're in the car. And he's talking about, do you know Men at Work? And he's like, oh, yeah. Well, what are they working on?
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, what about the police? Oh, yeah, we have the police. Yeah. But it was a very Abbott and Costello silly kind of conversations. And there were a few of those situations going on. There's a scene where Ariel is... She's kind of rebellious. She's the preacher's daughter, and she also has some pressure on her to behave a certain way, which she completely rebels against. And she shows up at this like a diner, an outside diner, a 50s kind of situation, which isn't. Well, they're not in the 50s, but it seemed like a 50s diner, and everybody's outside.
Yeah.
And she gets this boom box, and she puts it on the car, and she puts this song on. I forget what song it was. Do you remember what song it was?
I don't remember.
It was some song. Some upbeat song.
Yeah.
And everybody starts dancing to it. Okay? So, yeah. Okay. So she's kind of moving around to it. That's believable. Some of the friends around her starts moving around to it or whatever. Okay, that's kind of funny. Then, the people in the bathroom are dancing to it. The fry cook is dancing around to it. People in the arcade is dancing. I'm like, how loud is this boom box?
Dancing in the Sheets. Dancing in the Sheets. Dancing in the Sheets.
That's exactly what it was.
Is the name of the song. Yeah.
So, movies, stuff like that. Yeah. It was just like, okay.
Did you say how loud is this boom box?
Yeah, how loud is this boom box?
I mean, everyone heard it.
Everyone heard it.
Including her dad.
And then her dad shows up to give her money.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that is he shows up, he shuts it off.
Yeah.
The entire place goes silent. Everyone. That doesn't happen in the world. It doesn't happen. Maybe the surrounding people would be like, ooh, what just happened? But, the entire place does not go silent. No. So things like that make it a very imperfect movie. Fun, and, whatever. But I also... So that's kind of what I was expecting to begin with. But then, as you introduce some of the other characters, like Joan Lithgow and Diane Wiest. Wiest. And even... I'm not a big fan of Laurie Singer's character, but even her... You find out there's a little more layered situation going on. And it also... It actually ended up having a lot of meat to it. Mm-hmm. Which I appreciated.
It deals... that's one of my notes, too, is that it really deals with different characters' emotions and how they're feeling about things. And to a point where I'm like, this could have been 82 minutes, this movie. And I found it a little long. And here's the funny thing.
Very long to me as well.
I'm sort of cutting to the chase on this, but I have a lot of notes that are very critical, and yet... I really was like, I'm so glad this movie exists. Mm-hmm. Its heart is in the right place. I do think it tries to be about too many things.
Yes.
There's also conversations that I'm like, oh, where's that conversation? And it doesn't happen, or they don't show it. There's a conversation that I'm jumping all over shallow dives. Ren talks to John Lithgow's character. That is, but they cut the whole conversation.
Yeah, I was so like, sad. I was so excited when I first saw them sitting at the table together.
Because you think that was going to be the start of the conversation.
Oh my gosh, this is great. I forgot all about it, and of course I did because it was 10 seconds long.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see them sitting together. I thought it was going to be a really nice conversation. I'm like, this is cool. Like, this is real life.
Yeah. But you realize...
And then you realize...
It's the end of the conversation. And that you don't hear the conversation. So I thought that was a miss. There's another element of this movie involving, like, the son that was killed in Ariel. And you think, oh gosh, there's going to be the scene where the family comes together and has a good cry. And they deal with it.
Nope.
It doesn't happen.
Nope.
So that's weird. Mm-hmm. And then Diane Wiest has a really nice scene in the church when she talks about being a minister's wife for 20 years, and that
she has a great line in there. I wrote it down.
Yeah, I did not write it down, so please share.
Right at the end, she writes. She's talking about being a preacher's wife for 20 years and what a great preacher she is. He is, and how inspirational he is to the town. He's a great leader and everything else. And then she writes, she says, "It's the one-on-one where you need a little work."
Yeah.
And then she kind of walks out.
Yeah.
Great scene. Great scene.
I'm jumping all around, but yeah, to that point of every character, well, not every character, but a lot of the characters get those moments of like, this is how this is affecting me, and Ren is the catalyst for this whole thing.
Sure.
And Ariel sees something in Ren that she's not seeing anywhere else. But what really... So it's so funny, you mentioned you didn't like Ariel. She's a huge negative. I truly have in my notes, I hate Ariel.
I hate her too.
I wrote, she is aggressively unlikable. I mean, and you understand later on why she's so tough and all that. Because he says to her... I'm sorry, it is not, he doesn't say anything. It is Chris Penn's character says... She's trying to make people forget her dad's a preacher.
Yes.
And so therefore she is tough, she is nasty, she's mean. I'm going to say something controversial.
Let's hear it.
Sarah Jessica Parker plays Rusty. This might upset some Footloose historians and Footloose lovers. Ariel's a bitch. Mm-hmm. Rusty saw Ren first. That is breaking girl code. Rusty looked and made eye contact with Ren. Yes. And then said, Ariel, look, he's cute. And then Lori went after him.
It was a weird... Yeah, I saw that too. But it was
didn't catch it 30 years ago.
It was... No, I didn't either. But yes, I noticed it for sure this time around. It was almost like... So, obviously, Sarah Jessica Parker's character, is supposed to be, like, the wingman or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I don't know who made Ariel the queen bee. Like,
when she already had a boyfriend.
She already has a boyfriend. So it seemed like she was just like, oh, look, I found someone for you. Here. Like, she's like the patsy kind of going run around. Like, it was weird. It was very weird. I think...
I would challenge that she was not saying, Ariel, make a move on him. I think she was saying, Ariel, he's cute. Don't you agree? And Ariel was like, damn straight I agree. Hold my jacket. Which, by the way, Ariel, more than once, going through my notes. Cue dogs. Rusty, take my jacket. Rusty, take my sweater.
Yeah.
Rusty's treated like garbage.
She is treated like garbage. And I really liked her character, too.
And she was the one that found Ren.
Yeah.
She was the one. And it was like, I don't like Ariel.
No, I really didn't either. I thought, to be honest, I really felt like... I understand where she's coming from or whatever. I feel like they could have removed... Because, like I said, I think that it was a long movie, too. Mm-hmm. I think they could have removed 90% of the relationship between Ariel and Ren. I think that didn't even need to exist. That romantic part of it did not even need to exist. The huge, like that crazy rebellion, the climbing out of the truck window.
Jesus.
That could have been removed.
Standing in front of the oncoming train.
Standing in front of the oncoming train.
Where Ren saves
could have
her.
been
Like she was going to kill herself. I mean, like she wasn't going to.
She was not going to move.
He jumped and like tackled her away from the train.
So I think those moments could have been removed. Mm-hmm. I think that we could have got that she's a rebel without having those
suicide attempts.
Like seriously, like,
or suicidal behavior, not attempts.
Right, because bringing it to that level, I feel like there should have been more of an addressing of that, since it's at that level. If they had cut those things out, and she was just like staying out late and drinking and hanging with the wrong crowd, that would have been enough.
Mm-hmm.
To turn it around. I don't think that it was even needed. I think, and the movie was far too long anyway. I think I would have enjoyed that a lot better without her as such a main character. And she still could have been a main character, but I just think those scenes could have gone away.
Yeah, because she's so self-destructive that she actually brings other characters like down. Like it suddenly becomes like the Ariel story, which is not super interesting because she's sort of an unreliable force. Like, you can't care about her because she doesn't seem to care much about herself.
No, but I really cared for her father and her mother. And I think that if she had a smaller role and she was more or less the go-between between Ren and the preacher, I think that would have been much more effective. And if they focused more on the relationship between Ren and the preacher, I think that it would have been a better story. It would have made more sense.
Well, yes, I do think that they would have had to find a smarter way to connect those two, to bring those two together.
Well, still have the girl there.
Oh, I see, but not make her so
integral. But she wouldn't have been just
a
huge part of it. But I did, what was I going to say here? The truck scene, yeah. Oh, and the other thing is she was so thin. Did you find that distracting?
Oh, she's pretty thin.
She was really, like, I want to say dangerously thin.
Yeah.
Every time she was on screen, it was distracting me.
I'll tell you, she, when they go to the honky tonk, they go to the other town.
Oh, yes.
She takes her, like, I think, top shirt off.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh gosh, she's very, very thin.
Yeah.
And, also, but I was more distracted by her because
the energetic dancing.
She couldn't dance. Like what song was she dancing to at that honky tonk? Everyone's dancing to the beat.
It was Hurt So Good.
No. I'm making a joke. Like, what song was she dancing to?
Yes.
She was.
But what I mean is, like, Hurt So Good isn't a crazy, like, dancing on the ceiling. It's not like that. Hurt So Good
She's a psycho. And she, and at one point, Chris Penn says, they're just like, come on, to his character, and he's like, I can't dance, and I'm like, neither can Ariel.
That's not helping. That's not stopping Ariel.
But I did think Rusty and Ren had some natural, nice chemistry in their little moments together.
I did too.
I don't know. I mean, so really quick, Chris Penn, or not really quick, but I love him. I loved him in this.
He was really good in this. I forgot how much I liked him in this too. He was really good,
likable and good. And he did have some cheesy dialogue, but like he sold it. I think like it didn't bug me. I think that he had some good lines. Like she's been kissed a lot. When he talks about Ariel,
yes,
he said he doesn't have all his dogs barking. Just love that.
Yeah, and I think some of those lines they're trying to make him a little more dumb.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. A little, yeah. I liked him too. I liked how they met. It was a little bit unrealistic. I kind of expected that they would have fought more. But I kind of liked the fact that he was like, all right, you're fine. Yeah. And I liked that they had this friendship. I really liked that relationship much more than I liked his relationship with Ariel. Mm-hmm. A lot more. And again, like some of the goofy conversations at the beginning were stupid. But I believed that they were friends. They had some good chemistry. But I will say, like, that whole scene with him learning how to dance, all in all, I liked the scene. Okay? All in all, I liked the scene. The first few scenes where he's trying to learn the beat, where, like, sitting in the car and doing this, it had such jerk flashbacks for me when Steve Martin is trying to learn how to have rhythm and he couldn't do it. And it went on too much. Like, I think they did that too many little scenes of him trying to get the beat. Like, I wish they had just kind of did the one scene. In some of those, some of the scenes during that reminded me a little bit of like a Wrigley's gum commercial.
I can see that.
But all in all, I liked it, and I liked that it went on a little longer than comfortable, because to me, and you know how I am with this time frame stuff, I felt like it was a little bit believable that he is practicing. He is in his room trying to practice. He's walking down the street practicing. Like, they're doing a lot of practicing. Like, he's not learning how to dance immediately overnight.
Right.
So that, to me, was believable. And he looked great. Mm-hmm. He looked really fit by the end of it. The beginning part, he didn't. Like, and I think that was on purpose.
Yeah. I thought, I loved those scenes, and I loved, to your point about it being realistic. And I loved him, and I loved their friendship. I have a note, I was sure, it was like, to have a friend like that in high school would be so fun. Yeah. And I thought it was also cute that, like that whole thing where, like, Kevin Bacon, where Ren is lying about the girl. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is PG or PG-13?
It's PG. It's PG.
PG. And, because there's a really quick moment where Ren says to the guy, he's like, so what do you do around here? And then he says, a lot of this.
Yes.
And he does the jerk off motion. And I was like, I don't remember that.
It's quick.
And no, wait. I'm not saying it, like, deserved to be PG-13 for that. I'm just saying, like, I didn't remember that, and I didn't remember Kevin Bacon's story about the girl and, like,
that was kind of funny. It seemed like a deleted scene.
Yeah.
When you were watching it.
Yeah, but I did believe the thing in the beginning where he was like, he was making fun of him. So he's like, all right, you're cool. I did think it was strange that it was such a big deal he was wearing a tie to school. I was like, I don't know, would people really think that was super weird?
I think it worked because of where he was. He's in the Midwest.
Yeah.
They all have cowboy hats and cowboy boots and flannel shirts. So I get that he looked different. Yeah. And that's what they were picking out on, the tie.
Yeah. What else? Oh, I'm jumping. I did think it was interesting, like, how when they wanted to have the dance, and they were fighting the law, how it was, I want to abolish the law. Like, to me, I would have been like, can we suspend the law for one night? Or
that was a bit
change
harsh.
the rule? You don't say abolish, because if it's really just for the one dance, like, why couldn't they have said, we're going to try this one time?
Well, I don't think it was originally for the one dance. I think they really wanted to just abolish the law. And then when it didn't work, when they said no and they lost, then it was somebody who was working for or whatever. He's like, well, let's just have a dance.
That's true. That's right. But I guess what I'm saying is, like, it was, because it's just in my notes that way. But it's like, why wouldn't they have tried?
They should have tried it
to bend some of the rules a little bit, not just abolish it.
Let's try it, as opposed to just, like, I was surprised when he.
Like, get an ordinance, get a permit. Maybe you need a dance or music permit. Yeah. Like, it's like, I guess it was just a bit extreme. Like, let's abolish that. Yeah. Like, good luck with that, kid.
And I liked that they didn't win. Do you know what I mean? Like, I forgot that they didn't win. I kind of forgot a little bit about the end. Mm-hmm. I really appreciated that they had this whole thing, and everyone's, like, cheering, and he has this great speech, and I felt like the speech was pretty real too. It wasn't too speechy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was
it was not it wasn't super polished.
Yeah, I appreciated that, and I like that he was, like, fumbling around. He's like, okay, what did David say? And he's, like, trying to quote the Bible. I thought it was very realistic, and But I really, really appreciated the fact that they did not win, because I think in another movie they might have won, and that would have been it, and that would have been the end of the movie, and you'd have the dance and all that kind of crap. So there was another little layer. It made it a little longer, but I thought it made it a little more real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And then John Lithgow was still like struggling with it, and I don't have to talk about him anymore, but I did love him.
There were some. There's a whole scene with butts in the shower. That's why I asked with the PG-13 thing too.
Yeah, there was almost a frontal situation.
Yeah, it was. I was shocked.
I was shocked too. I'm like, what? Where did this come from?
I didn't remember that.
I don't remember that at all.
I never remember
it was
butts.
so matter-of-factly. There was no reason why that conversation had to be taking place in the shower.
Christina, it was weird. I'm being honest. Like, that was a weird shower scene. And also, the guy is hot.
They were all pretty hot. I'm like, what is going on
Chris
right
Penn looks
now?
really good. And we should probably say, it's so sad Chris Penn passed away some years ago. He was only 40.
Yeah, that was bad.
But the guy, what was his name? I liked him.
He was great, too. Where did he come from, too?
He was from the tractor. We didn't talk about the tractor scene yet. What's his name? I want to say not McGregor.
It's like McCormick or something like that.
McCormick.
I don't know.
But his butt, one of the butts was his.
Oh my God.
And he was like definitely farm boy body. Like he did not look a high school student.
He did not. He was like in his 20s.
He's a grown man. Yeah.
Easily. But yeah, that was a really weirdly placed scene. I don't know who was like, we should have a shower scene.
Right. And
there was
speaking
no need for
of strange scenes, I'm going after an iconic moment.
Oh, the dance.
His solo dance.
Yeah. Are you going to talk about the beginning part, the montage of like every... So, I'm sorry, you can go ahead first because I just totally hijacked that.
So I just wrote, I just stopped at writing, slamming himself against the wooden planks is a bit much. When he is slamming himself, his back against the wooden planks, I'm like, what's happening to him right now? Also, he seemed to have found like a jungle gym in this warehouse.
Yeah,
and he's
I know it's an all-out. It's not even a jungle gym. It's an actual gymnasium, like an Olympic-sized gymnasium. Yeah. It's weird.
He's doing gymnastic stuff. At one point he just jumps out a second-story window, and we assume he's okay. He
ends up landing. You saw the landing, right?
No, I know, but like it's like that's one way to let off some steam. It was so. Here's the funny part about laughing.
I was laughing about it too, and let me tell you something. It was really funny. So when I rented this movie, actually no, I didn't rent it because I was going to get it on Hulu.
Hulu, yeah.
So I was talking about watching this movie. I wasn't watching it at this point, but I had asked Emily if she would like to watch it with me because I thought it would be a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
She declined, but I said sometimes I'll play like the trailer or a specific scene that I remembered it being a good scene. So I'm like, let me show you this dance scene. I think you'll like it. So I look it up on YouTube, and I'm like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, this isn't really what I imagined it. I don't remember it being like this. And I was very disappointed, and she declined after watching that, too. I'm like, yeah, I don't blame you. But it was such a weird scene, right? Like, I remember it being so fun and awesome, and I just didn't feel it this time around.
He, like, flings his shirt off, right?
Yeah,
he runs back and forth. Runs back and forth with the shirt, like, hitting the boards.
Yeah. And then he does the whole parallel bars, flipping around, and jumps off that.
Yeah.
And he's...
Smashes a beer bottle. I mean, like...
There's one part where he goes across and he's doing sort of like the weird movements and stuff. That was cool, actually. I kind of like that part. But then, like you say, jumping out of the window. But I thought the funniest part, though, about that whole thing was the first few moments when he first shows up and he's drinking the beer and he's smoking the cigarettes and he's having all these memories.
Yeah.
And it's basically like every scene he's been in since the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what are they doing with this montage?
Yeah, like it is bad because it's like you honestly think the audience couldn't figure out what he's up against
we
right
get
now.
It. We just watched.
Yeah, the movie's been on for 32 minutes.
Yeah,
we understand.
We understand every scene.
It's
about her and him.
It's like we didn't forget something that happened 8 minutes ago.
Yeah. So it was very, very strange, and I kind of regretted showing Emily that scene just because it wasn't as good as I had remembered it to be. But and obviously lots of doubles in there. So I looked this up.
Oh, so I have to interrupt you.
Yes, please.
Super interesting that you just said that. I only really caught like one moment where I'm like, that's not him. Like it's almost glaringly not him. But he did. He had three dance doubles or a gymnastic.
He actually had because the reason why I did because. Okay. I was actually with you. Like, there were only a couple of moments.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think he's a gymnast. Like, I didn't buy that he was doing that.
Yeah.
There were a couple of moments, and I was curious about it. So I looked it up because I was curious about what happened. So in one of this, actually, what's kind of interesting is there's an interview with him, and he's like, he was actually really upset about that because he wanted to do more.
Oh.
And he had a lot of doubles, and it's one of those regrets, like he wished he had done more in the movie. But he had a stunt double, a dance double, and 2 gymnastics doubles.
So 4. I thought he had 3. Wow.
Different. He said it was crazy. There were 5 of us on set.
So, that must have been funny.
So so it was kind of strange.
Well, I mean. Yeah, and I have to be honest though. I do respectfully disagree with you that I didn't catch the doubles. Uh-huh. I think there was again that one part of that whole warehouse dance where I'm like, oh, that's not him. But I thought they did a good job of blending them.
They would. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I agree. I think they did a good job. I'm usually quite cynical when it's poor lighting in a situation.
Oh, sure. So, well, I will say, like Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John, we still weren't sure, but I think back then in '84, I think I completely assumed Kevin Bacon could dance.
Yeah,
to that degree in gymnastics,
and he does do dance. I mean, he does do some dancing.
It is some good stunt work. I didn't catch it.
It's interesting. But yeah, that was an interesting revisit of that particular scene.
I did love the tractor scene.
Yeah, that was good.
With Holding Out for a Hero with Bonnie Tyler. And I remembered it, like, I was actually proud of myself, how well I remembered that scene. Like, the shoelace,
I forgot about the shoelace.
Even the conversation with, Mick, what was his name?
I'm saying McCormick. I don't know if that's
You're right.
True.
It is
I don't
McCormick.
know if that's true.
And when he's like, anyone ever die from this? And he's like, once.
Just once.
Yeah.
Just once.
And I really loved in that scene. What is Chris Penn's character's name?
Oh, wait, I have it written down.
Willard. When Willard is, so McCormick is giving him all these tips. And everything he's saying, Willard is being like, don't do it. Yeah, don't. Yeah. And it was so damn funny.
It was really funny. It was really, really funny. That was a good scene, and I liked that he accidentally wins.
Right. And right. And I also like that, like, Ren has a support system. Like, it's not, Karate Kid. It's not him against the world. It's like, he actually has
some friends. Yeah, he has some friends that are supporting him. It's good. It's a good scene.
We have to talk about Ariel as punching bag. She gets hit by her father, and then there's the scene with Chuck or Chet.
It was Chuck. So yes, and so one of the things I actually liked about her is the fact. There's a couple things, not many. Is the fact that she didn't hook up with Ren. She was hanging out with him, but she did not hook up with him. She didn't kiss him or anything until she broke up with Chuck.
But she does say to Ren pretty early, like, "You want to kiss?" She's like, "You want to? Yeah, you want to kiss me? You want to kiss me?"
Yeah, and he says no.
No, yeah, because you tried to fucking kill yourself in front of a train. He's like, "I'm not going to make out with you now."
Yeah.
But yeah, to that point, sure. But I don't know. But I do think, like, when Chet Chuck. I remembered that, but I didn't remember how intense it got. She's awesome in that scene.
She's very good in that scene. So that's probably one of my favorite scenes of hers.
Yeah. It's when Chuck beats, like, really
he hits her.
Yeah.
Which I was like, whoa, like, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And so another reason why I like her is that she fought back. And she was just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, and she grabs, like, the tire iron and she starts beating on the truck. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. So, and I was conflicted about this scene. Honestly, I was conflicted about the scene because I understood why he was pissed. I don't condone him hitting her, but I could understand why he was so mad. He's like, I'm not stupid. Mm-hmm. I see you off with this guy. Mm-hmm. And, just whatever. He's like, I've been a good boyfriend to you. And there's nothing that really indicates that he wasn't up until that point. He was, it sounded like they were both probably toxic to be hanging out together, but they seemed to have fun together. Yeah. Like it seemed like he wasn't, I mean, he's not ideal. I wouldn't want Emily dating him. Don't get me wrong. But I think that they were alike personalities. And there was nothing that indicated that he was not a good boyfriend to her until that point. And so he had a point. He's just like, what the hell? What the hell? That kind of thing. So I understood where he was coming from, and I could understand why he was mad. Obviously, don't want him to hit her.
Yeah.
But then when she freaked out and started banging on his truck, I'm like, I mean, honestly, I would have been pissed too. It's like, it's so expensive. There's no reason for you to, like, beat up on this truck. But I understood. I probably would have done the same. But
she's awesome in that scene.
So good.
I did think, we're going to flash back a little bit to after Willard says, I bet she's been kissed a lot. Or whatever he says. The very next, they cut to her, Ariel, and Chuck in the woods, and she's zipping up her pants.
Yes. It takes her a while to zip up her pants, actually.
That's right.
She's walking around with her unzipped pants for a while.
In the woods.
Just in case we didn't catch it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she does indicate to her dad that she's not a virgin.
Yeah.
So she has been kissed a lot, probably in many places. But the second hit was a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't think they should have had him hit her again.
I do have to say the makeup and the blood was very convincing.
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job with, like, the welts and stuff. Like, wow. And I do think it was interesting. There was something about the scene right after that where she
went to Ren?
She went to Ren. That was my stomach. I'm trying to remember something that happens. Does Ren, like, sort of break up with her right after that? Or, like, says, you need to go talk to your dad? It was something like... So,
there was a point when you think they're going to get together and Ren stops it.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that, too. Because, again, in another movie, they would have, like, this would have been their moment that they make out, you know? I was very appreciative of that. Because I think that it was that conversation where they started talking about her brother a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think that's where that started coming.
And you think, at least I thought, was that, like, that conversation would go into a conversation with her dad.
Yes.
And it doesn't. Like, it's like...
No, it doesn't.
I thought I wrote that note down, like, the actual dialogue, what he says to her. I don't have it. Oh, damn.
But, yeah, and I mean, I get it. Like, she found it difficult to talk to him, and, I mean, I understood that. And I actually liked those scenes where she found it difficult to be a good girl. Mm-hmm. She felt invisible. I mean, I bought all of that. Mm-hmm. And I could see him really delving into his work and the congregation and trying to inspire the whole town and kind of forgetting about his family because of the pain that he had. I got all of that, and I really appreciated all of that.
Well, she says to her dad, the only time you care about me is when I walk out the door.
Ooh.
And I was like, ooh.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good line.
Yeah.
And it's sad because you find out through the... Sorry?
I'm going to say that to Matt sometime. The only time you care about me is when I walk out the door.
Well, I do like, you find out from Diane Weist's character that how close they used to be.
Yes.
And that's sad. And it's like, and again, I think it's like, that's part of almost the movie's detriment, where they maybe try and take on a little bit too much for the story. It's
but I think if they got
story.
rid of the relationship with her and Ren, like that whole thing,
that's right.
The boyfriend and all that, we didn't need all that. I mean, honestly, do we really need the boyfriend involved? I don't think so.
You know what I didn't need? Was the scene where they throw a brick through
oh my
the window.
God.
That's terrifying. So the bad guys,
yes.
Chuck and his cohorts, they take a brick and they throw it through the bedroom window, and they don't really know.
They don't know.
They don't know, but it's like these two little girls are sleeping in that room.
Oh, that was terrifying.
And the guy, and of course the dad is noticeably like, okay, hey, this didn't start happening until you came here. And and but then it kind of quickly ends. And
well, that's what the problem with that scene for me was like, what is the point of it? Like, nothing changed.
Nothing changed. There. I would have been like, I mean, if anything, the dad could have been like, we have some really nice hotels around here. Like you don't let this. If you think Ren is a troublemaker, you need a better action plan in place. When a brick goes through your window,
right?
Then the mom lost her job, which felt a little tacked on and pointless.
Totally.
That is the mom from Gremlins.
It is. Yeah. Yes.
But anyway, I really thought that was a pointless, unnecessary scene that sort of changed the stakes. Because
nobody learned anything from that scene.
Also, excuse me, I'm like gagging. Chuck would have almost in a way, he wouldn't have done that. Because like, what does Ren want? Music? God forbid. Like, it's like he was more mad about the Ariel thing. In which case, why don't you destroy Ren's Beetle? Destroy Ren's car? Like, you don't throw
it didn't make any sense.
So that could, crazy.
It really didn't make any sense. And it didn't come to anything. It didn't...
Right, didn't
change anything.
Yeah.
If that was removed, nobody would have noticed.
Really quick. Dean Pitchford wrote this movie.
Okay.
And he also wrote or co-wrote every song on the soundtrack. Isn't that wild? This was really a vision of his.
Wow.
Down to the songs. Because I was like, oh, I wonder who wrote that. So, really funny. Let's hear it.
Really? Even the Foreigner songs?
No. The songs that were written for the movie.
Right.
Almost Paradise. Let's Hear It for the Boy. And you can look at them. He wrote all of them.
Oh my god.
He didn't write Hurt So Good.
So what wasn't? What about Waiting for a Girl Like You? Was that written for the movie?
No, and Hurt So Good was not.
Okay.
No. But the songs that were written, the original songs for the movie were all co-written by Dean Pitchford.
Wow. That's pretty interesting.
I was super impressed when I saw that in the credits. But Let's Hear It for the Boy and Footloose were both nominated for an Oscar.
Wow.
For the best song. That was really fun.
Wow. Did they win?
What won? I have to check.
If Footloose didn't win, what was it up against?
I don't know.
Was it Flashdance the same year?
Let me see. I'm going to look it up right now.
It was very Flashdance.
Tell us a story, Christina. What else jumped out?
So other things that jumped out. All I have on my notes, there was a couple of just little moments where the music felt like it was a little bit of a TV drama at times.
I can see that.
Yeah, just a couple of times. Not much. But again, it was there was a lot of there was good moments, but then it was mixed in with some of these sort of sillier sort of moments, like I said at the beginning. I will say, when they get ready for the prom, this is a prom, right? Oh, let me tell you first, though. What does it say? Really long, didn't need... Oh, okay, yeah, I already said that. Okay, never mind. When the preacher is up there basically kind of encouraging the town to support the dance at the end, he says a line that I really like that says, if we don't start trusting our children, how will they ever become trustworthy? Yeah. And I liked that. Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good line. Yeah. Especially for
I also loved that.
Yeah. And I could see a preacher saying that sort of thing. What's the matter?
Am I lying to you right now? Oh, no, it's here. Okay, ready? Here, so this is 1984.
Okay.
These are the nominees. I want you to guess what one.
Oh, boy.
The nominees for Best Original Song for a Motion Picture.
Okay.
I Just Called to Say I Love You by The Woman in Red. Or In the Woman in Red by Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Against All Odds from the film Against All Odds, Phil Collins. Footloose from Footloose, Kenny Loggins. Let's Hear It for the Boy from Footloose. So Kenny Loggins and Dean Pitchford wrote Footloose. Dean Pitchford and Tom Snow wrote Let's Hear It for the Boy. And finally, Ghostbusters.
Wow, what a year for music,
Ray Parker Jr., music and lyrics. That is a good bunch of songs.
Yeah, seriously. That's
Against All Odds.
That's a strong...
Ghostbusters, Footloose, Let's Hear It for the Boy, and I Just Called to Say I Love You. What do you think?
Every time you said, one, I said, I bet it's that one, I bet it's that one.
Oh, really?
I'm going to say, I would not have voted for this.
Okay.
But I would say Against All Odds one.
No. I Just Called to Say I Love You.
That was my second choice.
Okay. I would have, Against All Odds I love that song, though. But
and he wins. He's won a lot.
Phil Collins?
Phil Collins,
I would imagine so. But, so that's so funny. But I love that song, Almost Paradise. There's a couple other songs that were in there. Holding Out for a Hero is a good song.
There's so many. I wrote them down. It's like, I hear for the boy. I wrote I Need a Hero, but I guess it's Holding Out for a Hero.
Yeah.
Waiting for a Girl Like You, Heard So Good, Almost Paradise.
Footloose, it's an amazing soundtrack. Footloose. Yeah.
It's such a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Such a good soundtrack.
And even like Dancing in the Sheets song, which is stupid, but it's like, it's fun.
But it's a fun. Yeah, it's a fun one.
What do you think? Break time?
Let's take a break.
Cool.
And we'll just have some kind of final thoughts, some questions.
Very good.
All right. We'll be right back. Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pulp culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show. And we're back talking about Footloose.
And bebopping around.
Dancing around, socially distancing, dancing around.
Got it.
Christina, anything we didn't touch upon? Any final thoughts?
So one thing, the final dance, they finally decided to do it. I liked how John Lithgow turned around. I liked how they showed up and had a really nice moment with him and Diane Weiss. And she was great. I said that earlier. She was really great in that, too. I really enjoyed her. One thing, when Ariel comes out, all dressed up for the prom, did she not look 30 years old? I thought she was so unattractive. With the curls, not a flattering look. I don't know what was happening there.
I honestly feel I'm going to hell. I think it was the worst she looked in the entire movie.
Seriously?
And I'm including when she was beaten up.
I don't know
why. It was the worst she looked in this movie.
Truly,
when she was supposed to look her best. Is that an 80s?
I must be an 80s thing. I don't know why they feel like in movies, when they dress someone up for a prom, when they dress a woman up for a prom, they have to put their hair up with curls. I don't understand that. That's not a good look for everyone.
It's big, exaggerated, and whatever. But again, her dress was very thin. It's
very 80s.
Yeah, very 80s. And it was off her shoulders and all that. She couldn't figure out if she wanted it. Also, I think part of the problem is that dress. Ariel wouldn't have worn that dress.
No, I don't think
because the fact that she was fidgeting. I appreciate that she was fidgeting with it. she wants to look good, which I think is part of the tragedy here, because it's so weird. And then when it's so funny. We felt the same way about this.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
She walks out, and then like Ren's sort of speechless, and he's like, "Beautiful, you're beautiful."
Yeah,
I liked how he ran around the car. I liked that when he was trying to let her in.
That was cute.
It is a very likable cast, and we keep talking about the cast, and it's so true. Like you do like this movie, even though you're you know better, but you still like the movie.
Right.
What I was going to say about the dance, I'm glad we're talking about that. I liked it. I said it totally felt like a party. Like I was like, this feels fun, and I liked that it at first people weren't dancing, and there was a distance and weirdness, and then there was the outside fight, which is kind of weird.
I wrote fight. Who cares?
Totally, right?
Why?
Unnecessary.
Why bother with the stupid fight at the end? Nobody cares about the stupid fight.
And if you're not going to take it seriously, don't do the fight. Because remember what happens to Chuck? He, kicks Chuck and he does, a back flip. Remember?
Yeah.
That only happens in, the 1960s Batman show. It's just really
dumb, yeah.
So, but here's the thing. The, one thing I laughed out loud. You have to watch the getting ready montage of this dance.
Oh, God.
There are no fewer than 4 people sweeping. What are they sweeping? What are they sweeping? So it starts off as one girl sweeping, right? But everyone else is working all around her. I'm like, just wait till people are done.
Yeah, why are you sweeping now?
They're running barrels of hay back and forth, and you're sweeping now?
I guess in their defense, they've never had a dance before. So they don't know how to set it up. That's hilarious. I didn't notice that.
And
that's
again,
so funny.
A very typical 80s construct. I just wrote, cue chaos.
Right?
If you really watch that montage, there are people that are doing nothing.
Yeah.
And if they're doing something, it makes no sense for them to be doing it at the same time other people are working.
Right.
But the sweeping, there's 1.4 people are sweeping.
That's
it's hilarious.
Oh my God, so funny. So one thing I did notice at the very end, so it was after the fight. Oh, one thing, I don't like it when all of a sudden everybody knows the dance moves. That was annoying to me, that line dance. I'm like, no, thank you. But that was minor. But did you notice at the very end, after the fight, Sarah Jessica Parker is nowhere to be found. She is not seen again.
Oh, yeah, I know. I did absolutely 1,000%.
Where the hell is she? But they show freaking Ariel 25,000 times. Yay! Woo!
Yeah.
Yay! Where the hell is Sarah Jessica Parker?
1,000%, Christina. And they actually at the end when I was like, this is really weird. Where is everyone? I only saw Ren, to be honest with you. And then when the credits rolled, they showed Ren and Ariel dancing together. Right? Along the credits. I believe this is true.
Well, he and Willard did do the dance together.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, where's Rusty?
Yeah, Rusty.
She should be cheering him on. She's the one that couldn't dance because he couldn't dance. That was the big moment for him to shine. She should have been his first supporter.
True.
It was like she wasn't available to film that day or something.
It was weird. I agree with you. I noticed that too. But I'm telling you, there's another part of that dance scene where I'm like, wait a minute. All these people are dancing behind Ren. Where are his friends?
Oh, at the very end. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But then they came back with the credits, and it was Ariel and Ren dancing together. I'm like, okay. But it's still weird. Because that freeze frame on Kevin Bacon's face, right?
Yes,
and then, yes. Okay. I completely agree. It was super weird. Where did the cast go? I agree.
Very strange.
Fun fact, original casting, Rob Lowe. But he couldn't do it because he had an injury.
And he would have been around the Outsiders.
That's right.
Time, right? Yeah.
But I'm telling you,
he's so hot then. Oh.
But I'm telling you,
he's still pretty hot now.
Kevin Bacon is so good in this, though.
He's so good.
And then for Laurie Singer, this is interesting. Allegedly, it was and this is why I find it weird that Laurie Singer got it, and no disrespect to her.
Sure.
But so originally they wanted Madonna.
Oh, wow.
In her, in an acting, her big acting moment, which would have been super weird.
She would have seemed way too old. I think she would have seemed way too old.
Well, at this point...
When was Desperately Seeking Susan? I just
Was that 85?
Yeah. She seemed... If she looked the way she did in Desperately Seeking Susan, she would have looked way too old for high school.
So, but then
Who else?
and then, I think I took a screenshot because there are a million people mentioned. Let me see. Hold on one second.
Carry on.
I know, I'm sorry. Okay. Tom Cruise and Rob Lowe were both slated to play the lead. Casting directors were impressed with Cruise because of his famous underwear dance sequence in Risky Business.
Tom Cruise.
No, but then Rob Lowe couldn't because of an injury. Bacon had been offered the main role for the Stephen King film Christine. At the same time, he was asked to screen test for Footloose. He took a chance and gambled on the screen test for Footloose. The film also stars Laurie Singer as Reverend Moore's independent daughter Ariel, a role which Madonna auditioned for. Daryl Hannah turned the part down to star in Splash. Elizabeth McGovern, who would have been awesome, turned down the role to be in Once Upon a Time in America. Michelle Pfeiffer and Melanie Griffith were also considered.
So I think that Daryl Hannah would have seemed too old as well.
For
high school. Especially if she was doing... Because she seemed old in Splash.
I wonder if that's just us being older and not remembering.
Maybe.
How old is Daryl Hannah?
I don't know.
It's fine.
I just remember her seeming old. I mean, she was paired up with Tom Hanks in Splash.
I know what you're saying. You're saying her
just her overall
persona,
vibe.
Her vibe is older.
Michelle Pfeiffer might have been able to pull it off.
Because this is 84. When was Grease 2?
Grease 2.
It was 82?
Yeah. And she played a high school
in Grease 2.
Which
I still have never seen.
Well, maybe that's one of my picks. I'm between that and one other for my next pick.
But that's it. So, that's the fun.
That's all I have too. So, would you recommend it?
I would, and it's funny because if you said give this a 1 to 5 star rating, I'd probably say 3.5. Meaning I'm not crazy about it, but for what it is and what it does and what it tries to be, and it tries to be about a bit more than what it is. I admire it. I liked it, and the cast is so likable. I
like it too. I think I would also recommend it, but I'm hesitant because of the length of the movie. I feel like I would be, if it was 20 minutes shorter, I'd be like, yes, 100%. I would recommend it.
It needs to be tighter,
but I still would recommend it. But I would probably preface it with being like, it's a little long. Just sit through it, and you'll appreciate it at the end.
Yeah. Cool. So. And the soundtrack, is just amazing.
Soundtrack is so good.
Did you see you probably didn't see the remake.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't either.
No.
I got some mixed reviews. I don't think it was hated, but it's like Julianne Hough from Dancing with the Stars. I don't know who the lead was, but anyway.
Was she, so it was the same exact story, do you know?
I believe it's the same exact story.
So she played the Laurie Singer?
Yeah, she plays the Laurie Singer character. Dennis Quaid plays the John Lithgow character. Andy McDowell, I believe, plays the Diane Wiest character.
Yeah, it's a decent cast.
Yeah. Questions?
I have a question.
I have an FMK.
Would you like to go first?
Sure. Fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
I'm being very nice.
You're always so nice in these, and I'm always so
mean. Well, I think it's tough when they're nice because you have to kill someone.
Yeah, killing to me is not that big a deal.
I hope you're yeah, right. Ren, played by Kevin Bacon. Willard, played by Chris Penn.
Okay.
And assuming Ren and Willard are of legal age. And of course. Preacher, John Lithgow.
Interesting.
FMK.
Okay. Yikes. Okay, that actually, it's harder than you think. I think... Alright, I would have to kill Willard.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost want to say I would marry the preacher.
Yeah, of course you would. Yay, I got
it! Yay!
Yeah, poor Willard.
Yeah, no, I just don't see him being... I just don't see him being a long-lasting conversationalist.
I think his body type is more... for me, he would be the F. I think would he... Oh... Yeah, but then would I marry the preacher? Probably not. That's a tough one for me.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I think you would marry Ren.
I think I probably would. Yeah, I would marry Ren.
You're not going to marry Willard.
I'm not marrying Willard. No, I would... F. Willard,
Oh, okay.
marry Wren, kill the preacher.
Kill the preacher.
I'm going to hell. I know.
That's not going to give you a straight ticket to hell. Kill the preacher.
So what's your question?
So mine is a match game question.
All right.
And it was a little something like this. The Reverend Shaw, who is John Lithgow's character, right? Okay. Reverend Shaw is so strict.
How strict is he?
When Ariel... I can't even read my own writing. When Ariel misbehaves, he doesn't just send her to her room. He sends her to blank. Ow, I just stabbed myself with my pen. I thought I was... Oh, never mind.
God, this is tough. There could be I think 3 answers.
Okay. All right, let me know when you're dinging in.
Ding!
All right. Reverend Shaw is so strict. When Ariel misbehaves, he doesn't just send her to a room. He sends her to...
Rehab.
Good one.
Confession.
I said prison.
I wrote, oh my god, because I first wrote confession.
Rehab's good.
I wrote confession.
Confession's good
and I scribbled
too.
it out, and then I wrote rehab. That's so funny.
That's great. Awesome.
Yay, Footloose.
So that was a good revisit. So if you haven't seen it already, go out and rent it. Oh, it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu for now, yeah.
All right.
And that is it for us, and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please.
If you have an idea for the show or a suggestion or comment, you can email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Until next time.